I was working on this film, Eyes Wide Shut, and on the last day of the shoot, I caught a ride home with Tom Cruise, and we had to land in Maine. And I said, I'm moving here this year. And he said, no, you're not. And I said, no, I'm moving here. He said, wow, why?
Maine, to me, felt like stepping back in time, so it felt like being in a classic movie. I want a simpler life. I want a quiet life. I want to be somewhere beautiful. So I put my worldly possessions in the car. I drove from LA to Maine.
I wound up in Rockland, kind of falling really hard for this place. It's a very rich culture here.
The Strand brings the world to Mid-Coast Maine, and it is a cornerstone on Rockland's Main Street. The Strand has stood through wars and pandemics and has always been there for this community.
The Strand was a part of our family's life for as long as I can remember. It's the cultural centerpiece of the community. And growing up, my mother and I locked horns a fair amount, so we bonded around movies and music. I have many fond memories of coming here.
My grandparents, Joe Dondas and Ida Dondas, built the theater in 1923. My grandmother was really the driving force behind the theater, and my family ran the theater for 77 years.
The Strand is so much more than a movie theatre. It really is a gathering space for community, and I didn't realize before I moved to Maine how important these theatres are to the community. They can be a driver of the economy in a small town.
It's such a beautiful space, but also such a warm and welcoming space. We have some really nice performance spaces around here, but there's not another space that feels just like this. Accessible and yet very professional and like you're coming to something special.
There's so many people in this community that had their first job here, their first date here, their first kiss here. And all of that applies to me. As a kid, I would come down here and just go watch a movie, and I'd bring a couple friends with me.
I think as classic film lovers, you're always nostalgic for a time and a place that you were never a part of, but you feel like you wished you were. You have this desire, this part of you that wants to be inside of the movies that I watched from when I was a child, obviously, to right now.
It's hard to talk about movies without, sentiment or getting sentimental or sounding corny. But that's what's so, wonderful about discovering a film that you've never seen before.
Often I'll just go by myself because you're not alone for very long when you come to the Strand. The staff all know you. Often Anne, our executive director, is in the box office selling tickets. Ryan, who's the theatre manager, is at the concession stand. He knows everyone's order, so you can walk up and say the usual. He knows that I like my butter layered throughout the popcorn. It's very important to get an equal distribution of butter as you're eating popcorn. And you see the same people, the same faces every week, people that come no matter what's showing. They have their favorite seat, they have their favorite snack, you get to know them. Every part of the experience is thought about so that you have that human touch and that human care behind it that I think is so rare these days.
This is my favorite theater in America. I'm so lucky to be able to come down here and watch films that are, perfectly projected.
What has not changed is the feeling of the place.
One of my favorite things about seeing a movie at the Strand is going to the lobby after the movie, because that's where everyone is gathered, everyone's talking about it, and that is just so much fun.
When we look at the generations that we serve and the way that different generations interact and connect with film, we're trying to program not only classic film, but film that is intergenerational, film that people remember seeing when they were children. So that might be something like E.T. or Singin' in the Rain. But when we can bring generations into the theater together, that's when we know we're really succeeding.
That's what it's all about, is making the community work for everybody. I wish I had had this kind of place when I was a kid.
The Strand is for everybody. Everything we do here might not be for everybody, but there's something that everybody can find here that will be entertaining for them.
It's so important to keep these historic theatres alive because they are such a part of the history of the town, and they're something that people really rely upon for entertainment and for a sense of friendship and community.
So I think the future is bright for the Strand. I mean, look, it's 102 years old. So there's no reason to think that it's not going to last forever.
My goal is to keep the Strand relevant and to really preserve its historic character while pushing forward the technology that we can offer here to deliver the best film experience.
I know that there are many challenges in Hollywood right now. I think at the end of the day, it's going to be theaters like the Strand that are really, really going to help the filmmakers and the film distributors.
It is so important to us that we let the children of Rockland know that this is their theater.